3 lives were taken in Nonantum this past Sunday. 73-year-old Gilda D'Amore, her husband, 74-year-old Bruno D'Amore, and her mother, 97-year-old Lucia Arpino, were brutally slayed at the D'Amore's Broadway Street home after a break-in occurred on Sunday morning. Newton resident 41-year-old Christopher Ferguson Jr. was arrested and charged on Monday in killing of Gilda D'Amore, along with 2 counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon causing severe bodily injury and burglary. Additional charges are expected after an autopsy is performed on Bruno and Lucia.
What we know so far is that about 10:14 yesterday morning, Newton police received a call after a close friend and neighbor of the D'Amores had entered the house on Broadway in Newton. She was concerned because yesterday morning the couple was scheduled to renew their wedding vows on the occasion of their 50th anniversary at Our Lady's Church. When they did not arrive for the service and the other family members had already gathered, the friend went back to the house to find out where they were and what was delaying them. She entered the house and found those 3 residents with obviously suffering from severe injuries. She immediately called 911, who responded, and the individuals were pronounced dead at the house at 10:20 yesterday morning. All 3 have suffered from apparent knife injuries and blunt force trauma. We know that Mrs. D'Amore suffered over 30 both stab and blunt force trauma injuries, primarily to the upper part of the body and head. We'll have more information as to the injuries inflicted on the others tomorrow. There were obvious signs of struggle in one of the bedrooms of the home, including broken furniture and a crystal paperweight covered in blood. We also found in the kitchen a knife with red-brown stains. Police further discovered evidence of a forced entry in the basement. One of the windows were open, and a number of the other windows had had the screens pried off and removed from them. The door of the garage, which was in the back part of the house, was also open, and close to that door was one of the screens that had been torn from a basement window. Forensic specialists processed the floor outside of the bedroom where the struggle had taken place. The surface of that floor was a ceramic tile. They processed that floor with leucocrystal violet, a chemical referred to as LBC, that enhances the visibility of non-visible occult blood. They were able, having done that, to find bloody bare footprints on that tile hallway floor. Like fingerprints, the skin of people's feet is unique and leaves an impression that can be compared as well. So they were able to gather a number of those footprints yesterday. They also observed it as part of the continuing, we do not have the results yet because of ongoing testing, blood stains, passive droplets, consistent with blood dripping from an object near those footprints, and they also were able to recover what we hope will be a number of fingerprints that can be matched from the screens and the windows that were removed. Police immediately began a canvass for video in that area. They were able to obtain a video from the area of 455 Albemarle Road, which is about 4/10 of a mile from the house on Broadway. And it's about 100 yards from what we believe to be the home of Mr. Ferguson on Washington Street. That video shows that at about 5:20 a.m. yesterday morning, Sunday morning, the 25th, a male with no shirt and no shoes was walking with what appeared to be a staggering gait. Several officers, when shown that video, were able to make an identification of the individual depicted on the video as Mr. Ferguson, who was known to them. They continued with that investigation and ultimately were able to focus on Mr. Ferguson as we began continuing to gather that information. Late this afternoon, the lab was able to match one of those footprints taken from the tile hallway floor to an impression taken from Mr. Ferguson. That is what led to obtaining the warrant for him. What I've described to you is a short summary of what has really been tireless work. by both the Newton Police Department, State Police, and our DAs who work in our homicide unit in this office. I think none of us who were here yesterday, who heard about the family gathering at the church, waiting to celebrate a very joyous occasion, having beloved family members not show up, then learning about the deaths, did not have a sense of the great tragedy and loss that occurred. And this kind of work, this kind of really dogged gathering of evidence and processing in this short a period of time in an attempt both to determine what happened to these family members and also to restore a sense of safety to the members of the community who yesterday we could not make that same assurance to, has led to the charges this afternoon. So I want to give great credit to all of the individuals who worked since yesterday, and particularly to the Massachusetts State Police Forensic Crime Lab, who did the processing of that evidence. As I indicated, it is my expectation that tomorrow we will have additional information regarding the injuries sustained by the other victims. I do anticipate additional charges. At this time, we know of no established connection between the family members and Mr. Ferguson. And I also point out that although the family is incredibly grateful for the support they have received from this community, which has been their home all of their lives, they are asking for privacy in these difficult days as they deal with the news of what has happened and prepare burial services for their family members.
Ferguson pled not guilty during his arraignment in Newton District Court on Tuesday and is being held without bail. The next hearing is scheduled for July 25th.